Hi, my name is Mark Monlux, and I'm going to be your host for Epic Sketch Time. Epic Sketch Time is a weekly drawing group that meets every Tuesday at 4:30. If you'd like to join us, sign on to our mailing list located in the doobly-doo down below, or you can go to our Facebook page, which is Epic Sketch Time. That's pretty straightforward. It's just Epic Sketch Time. And by order of appearance, gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist in Seattle, Washington, and I also do a webcomic called Rhapsodies, which you can find at rhapsodies@wpmorse.com and also at my Patreon account.
Howdy, everybody. My name is Ian Castruita. You can check out my stuff at unfedartist.com. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and cartoonist working out of Tempe, Arizona.
And I'd like to introduce Vicho Friedli. He is from Chile, and he's been joining us here at Epic Sketch Time. Vicho, if you would please send me, did I already do this for you? Have you sent me your website address so that I can include you as a regular down in our descriptions? Oh, Vicho says he's from Santiago, Chile. I hope I didn't murder that. And thank you, Vicho, for your website. I will copy and paste that. So what has everybody been working on since last time?
Well, I've mostly been keeping up on my comic strip. I finally got my buffer up to 3 weeks. So, which now that I have the one of my Patreon tiers being showing up people everything a week early is a means that that's a very good thing, because that 3-week buffer is actually now Patreon a 2-week buffer. And I've been fighting a illustration piece, which I knew at the very beginning of last week, but it's after, I'll show it in a second. What I think about it, whether it's making progress or not, is a matter of opinion depending on how I feel at that time of day.
Ian, you're next.
I have been dealing with client work, and I've been working on this free comic service offer to try to generate data and metrics on the effectiveness of comics for business services. And as part of that, I've reached out to clients that I've had in the past, and contacts that I hope to work with and stuff like that. One of them is interested in using me right now, and so I've been kind of saddled with looking at my contract, trying to make it work, because and I don't want to get too technical, but essentially you're not offering a free service if you're exchanging it for goods and service. It's a barter. And so I need to make my contract accommodate a barter as a fee. And there's like all this stuff that's kind of associated with that. And, one of the things that I've been afraid of doing is creating what's called a Frankenstein contract, where you basically build it out of bits and pieces of other stuff. Cause then it kind of invalidates itself. So, I've spent most of my time this past weekend, unfortunately my holiday yesterday, just trying to get it together to see if I could do it. So I sent that off this morning, and finally able to get back to my comic work today, which again is just my regular strip. So we'll see how that goes. But I could be getting pretty busy pretty soon trying to do all these comics, because naturally with the client, it's always, how quickly can you do it? so I'm kind of stuck in that situation. If I ever find a client that's like, yeah, let's take our time and plan this out, I will drop dead there. It has never happened to me.
Vicho says that besides disinfecting groceries, he's been working full-time on Mermaid, haven't we all, except for Ian? Mm-hmm. And that now that he has a Patreon, he intends to continue working on his comic strip, Heads That Shine. Now, I should mention that all 4 of us have Patreon accounts, and so please look for them. I believe Bill's is Rhapsodies currently. Ian's is Unfed Artists. Vicho, is it Heads That Shine or is it Vicho?
Vicho Friedli, yes.
And then mine is Mark Monlux. And like Bill and Vicho, I too have been doing Mermaid, but hey, I also have a big project that landed last week, and I'm busy doing storyboards. And when I'm doing them is I'm doing them inside Photoshop and on layers so that I can show how the different elements are moving around, and then I have to save out these dozens and dozens of layers and then import them into a PDF file, and that allows the client to quickly on the PDF file just click, 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 and they can see how things are going to move, almost like a flip chart. So I'm busy doing that. Also talked to the sound guy today because she needs sound work. And once my I'm hoping to get the storyboard done in by end of tomorrow. Oh, let's see. Vicho sent, so check this app out, Mark. https://wonderunit.com storyboarder. Oh, it exports the animatic right away. Well, I'll check that out. Thanks. I'm so used to doing it this other way, though. Maybe when I get back to, and I also showed a client a PDF of what to expect. What I really like is just being able to send a client a Photoshop file and having them click on and off the layers through the progression, and that's super easy. But this gal doesn't want to do this. She wants to see the PDF. I think it's so that she can show it to her clients and not have to worry about trying to explain things. She wants to get some straight feedback.
I haven't gotten around to trying it, but I've came across some fairly good tutorials for doing animatics on Procreate. So it's pretty much a matter of importing all, they give you the screen size that you want to use for your template, do it as layers, and then you can move it onto iMovie afterwards.
So during today's drawing session, I thought I'd take some time and work on the next mermaid, which I think the one I'm working on right now is Orphan.
Ah.
And what I'll do is just for you guys, show something that's what I showed on my Patreon. Though I don't know if you guys have, I know both of you support me on Patreon except for Vicho. Hint, hint, Vicho, just hint, hint. That's why I want you to do a $5 level so that, you know, we can support each other. Vicho says, animatic is also known as like a reel. Also, if you do one board per layer, not multi-layered boards, you can use the export layers to files in Photoshop. It creates one JPEG per layer. Well, that's good to know. So I might as well show the animation for this. This is the drawing process for the word prop. Yeah, it was for Beastal.
Okay.
And I thought that was a stupid word, so I thought, okay, I'm going to draw the most stupid mermaid I can think of, which would be a goat. The
Capricorn.
No, Aries.
Aries is the ram.
Well, that isn't this Aries right here?
No, Capricorn is the goat, the aquatic goat.
Oh, geez. Well, you know, I'm going to have to go in and change that symbol up on the corner.
Well, anyway, on that topic, this is what I went with for Beach Teal.
Oh, yeah, I saw that posted.
Yeah, and I believe Orphan comes up sometime tomorrow evening, which is this one.
I'm trying to think of what type of image I could do for an orphan without it being sad or morbid. Because my first thought was to have a little tiny child, I still might do this one because it's terrible, of a little child mermaid, just the back of him, and he's looking into the distance of these two shark silhouettes in the distance, and in each hand he's got a severed adult hand.
Oh dear.
But
Vicho wants to know what I did for Punk, and the answer to that is this.
Tilt it and a little bit more of an angle and get it up closer, Bill. There we go. Okay. So you went with the Mohawk too.
Uh-huh. I rather like your humpback whale one, though.
Yeah, let me, I don't think he's seen it. I'll just show that. So this is my Punk one. At first it started out as a fish, but then I thought, you know, if I drew these fins really long, they'd look like a whale's. And then I thought, oh, well, I can give him a whale mouth. And it just kind of went from there. I'm kind of curious, Vicha, who have you picked as your, are you doing Billy Idol for Punk, or is there a particular caricature you have to, a list of people that you have to do?
Paul Bethany.
Oh, who's Paul Bethany?
I'm not sure if I know him either.
Ian, you're young and hip. What did you say?
He plays Vision in the Avengers.
Okay.
I can't think of the other stuff he's done. He was in the Solo movie as the bad guy.
Okay.
Oh, and he was in Wimbledon. I really enjoyed Wimbledon. That was a good movie. A wonderful romance sport movie.
Huh.
You haven't seen Wimbledon?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah, it's sort of like I've been off my game with my movie watching thanks to the shutdown, and I'm.
Well, I know that Scarecrow allows for pickup, but you insist on doing it for 2 for 1, and they don't do that for pickup. I think you should just go ahead and splurge, Bill, and put in your orders and actually pay for 2 movies. Oh, A Knight's Tale is what he also was in.
Oh, was he Chaucer in that?
No, that was Shakespeare, wasn't it?
No, Chaucer. It takes place in the pseudo 14th century.
Okay. Yeah, it was the rock and roll music in that movie that kind of threw me.
It was weird.
Queen's "We Will Rock You" is not something you expected the crowd to be pounding out.
I thought you'd be more annoyed by the princesses with pixie cuts. I found myself liking it more when I stopped watching it as a history nerd and watching it as this alternative universe that they created with all of these deliberate anachronisms.
So, James Stowe's Wacom computer died on him last week.
You mean his input tablet?
Yeah. Well, it's actually a computer. He's got the computer version.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's a hefty investment.
it was his third one too that they've replaced. He bought one, they've replaced that. He got in that second replacement, they replaced that one as well. But this one finally this one went dead on him, and I think he decided that enough was enough.
Yeah, I've always just used the input display. I've never. I mean, I did consider like the full computer options that they have, but it just didn't seem like it was a smart choice as far as like being able to expand it and you know, improve upon it, as because you know how technology goes obsolete after 2 days. So, but yeah, Wacom lately has been pushing this new device called the Wacom One, which is I think it's like $400, and it's nicer than what I currently use. Yeah, $400. I have like this old Cintiq, one of the very first Cintiqs, and
Yeah.
that I've used forever. And yeah, a brand new Wacom One for $400 is pretty interesting. But I won't buy it now because it's not like I'm rolling in cash. But yeah, if this guy were ever to break, that's probably what I'd have to go to.
Now I know that Stowe's getting a touch. Oh, Vicho says the first time he had a monitor he could draw on was a laptop. It worked very good, but the CPU got damaged. Do I say I never do again buy a all-in-one computer? Better to buy every part separately. Yeah. Oh, Stan sent me a text saying that he wasn't going to be able to make it today. He's writing on his project, and group activities are not conducive to writing. I completely understand that.
Mm.
And who is Stan?
Stan is Stan Brown, otherwise known as Stan with an exclamation mark. He's been on Epic a couple of times and is usually at Freelance Fandango. And tonight is going to be a draw with claw session. And that's where we all get together at 7:30, and we're going to be drawing a mini comic.
Oh, tonight? I have it down for Wednesday.
Oh, pardon me, not tonight. Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It's tomorrow night.
It scared me there for a second.
I'm sorry. I scared myself there too. I've been kind of trying to promote it on the side while doing my other projects.
It seems like there's a lot of streaming drawing groups now. Like the Graphic Artists Guild newsletter, I think I saw like 2 or 3. Most of them are out on your guys' neck of the woods. So I think most of them are.
And there's technically also one for Cartoonist Northwest, though I haven't set it up yet. I'm at the moment I'm leaning towards the 18th.
Well, let me know when you do, Bill.
Okay.
Over here, we have a drink and draw, which I've always meant to go to, but I never find the time and I guess if I really wanted to go, I would have gone by now because it's been years. But they have online things now too, where I guess you're just drinking at home while you're on a Zoom call. So in other words, it's just a Zoom call. but yeah, I've always let me see if I could find their website if they have a website. I know they have an Instagram. I've always really admired their logo. And I know Drink and Draw is probably like all across the country, but the local one has this great logo.
There was a group in Seattle called Bureau of Drawers. Oh, Vicho says he found a very fun group called Caricature Barbecue, and it's a group of caricature artists, and they either invite people to draw or they draw each other, and it's really fun. Now, is that an online group, Vicho, or is that an in-person thing?
Well,
He says it's a Zoom meeting.
All right, I found their Instagram. So word of caution, they have this thing where they like to flip off people in their Instagram. So it's a bit of a rowdy group, but otherwise, I've always really liked the graphic design, especially their logo. I think their logo is amazing. But every event they put together like a cool poster, and it's just really well done each and every time. So yeah, if you're looking for an Instagram to follow, at the very least, you could check that out. And if you're ever starved for people flipping you off, I guess that's also an option.
I'll check out both of these groups. So the one that Ian posted up is for Drink N, the letter N, Draw PHX. And the one that Ian posted, let's see, let me get back to that page. It's Camray. Oh man, this is weird. Capital A, lower, capital A, capital, oh, pardon me, capital C, capital A, lowercase m, capital R-A-Y, lowercase o, capital D, numeral 7, lowercase w and f. So I have no idea what that actually means. Oh, wait a minute. Come and Juliano draw at the caricature barbecue. Okay, there we go. This week, Tuesday and Thursday. No, Tuesday through Thursday. Oh, wow. They've got the figure drawing. And then on Tuesday, and then Wednesday. So figure drawing tonight at 7 Pacific Standard Time. That sounds interesting. I'm not very good at characters, but figure drawing is always fun to do. So let's see. This is my rough sketch for Orphan.
mm-hmm. Oh. I'm embarrassed to say I completely missed where you were going with it at first. Now, oh my God, that's morbid.
Yeah, my wife probably won't like it, but I've been trying to go for the funny, even if it's a dark funny. Vicho says today they're doing a figure drawing, meaning the group is open to anyone who wants to go, though you don't need to be a caricature artist. And that's dark. Well, thank you, Vicho. So. The reason I like this drawing is because it's going to be really easy, simple to draw. I do have a show and tell, but I'm only going to show it part way.
Okay.
This is a package from Sticker Mule, and they were doing a wonderful deal where you could get 50 stickers for like $30, die cut ones. And so I got 2 different stickers. Oh, hang on. Jill, I'm so sorry. Jill, I'm so sorry. How long were you waiting to get in?
Not at all. I was stupidly signing up for the claw one, which is tomorrow. I told you I have trouble with schedules. Just don't mind me.
If it makes you feel better,
Don't mind me.
getting
Oh, is
that
that
one
a
up
picture
too.
of my husband with a leak? With a sexy leak? Is that him?
Yes.
Maybe I'll give you my actual face. I don't know. It might be my husband with a sexy leak in my garden. Start video. Let's see. Ah, there I am.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
And you got it. Hello, Jill. Jill, we've all done introductions. Do you know everybody here?
You know, I do know Vicho from last one, and Bill and you, and I'm not sure about ENC. Hello, ENC. So now we know each other.
Okay. Ian's
Why
along.
don't you keep going as though I didn't drop in way late?
Well, could you tell us where you live and what you're currently drawing today?
Oh, okay. I'm trying to do, let's see, does this work? No, it does not.
No, you are completely fading out. I think you have to kill the background.
Okay. I'm working on only my 3rd drawing for the May Mermaid. And I hope to complete it before June. and I'm very much a beginner on Procreate, but I'm kind of getting some of it.
Now, if you, Vicho is in Chile, so you'll have to click on your little chat icon to see his comments in the chat. He says, hi, Jill.
Oh, okay. Hi, Vicho. Oh, gosh, I'm trying to use the Apple Pen on my computer. That does not work. Okay.
So was today's mermaid shore, or was that tomorrow's mermaid?
It was
Oh,
today,
I'm just doing whichever one interests me. So I'm still on Siren's Song.
So I was telling
I know
them,
you're doing a good one every single blessed day, which blows my mind.
thank you. So's Bill, and Vicho's doing some wonderful things.
Yeah, I've seen Bill, you see my comments, don't you?
I very much liked your one for the ancestor one.
Yeah, that was a mighty illustration.
Thank you. I think that was my favorite one of my favorites of the batch.
Yeah, it was
might
awesome.
Play with that concept a little bit more, since I'm one of my projects that which will be I'm using specifically for my 2nd tier level on Instagram is
Instagram?
Patreon, fleshing out more of the recurring mermaids in my series and doing write-ups on them to give you.
Oh, they're becoming people to you.
Well, I've been having a recurring cast, so far I've only done one of them. Just a second. Here it is.
Okay.
So this is the first one that I'll probably post this week.
Okay.
Give me a second to share.
Sure.
So anyway, this is the first one of the batch of the mermaid named Doris. And Doris, if you've been following my series, is the one with the terrible luck, which during this Instagram during this mermaid series included her being embarrassed over something, running away from the undersea city, drifting along on an ice floe, and we last saw her hiding from a shark.
Yes, yes, yes. She is relatable.
Yeah. So at the moment, this is my attempt to translate it into a comic style. It took me a while to figure out how to translate the watercolor palettes into more flat colors. I didn't want to go crazy with the shading.
Okay.
And I'm not completely sure of just how well the colored line is working, but for the most part, it does the trick for the first try.
So is this going to be ink and board then, or watercolored comics?
Well, this is what you see it. It's digital comics that I did on Patreon mostly, and then cleaned.
Okay, it's
that
great.
I did the initial pen and ink and flat colors on Patreon, and then moved it over to Clip Studio to do the tones and the text. And while I'm sharing the screen, I like to show you what I've been working on for the last week and a half. This is trying to redo one of the better mermaid pictures from last year.
Oh.
And at the moment, I'm having a love-hate relationship with it. I mean, at the moment, I'm mostly happy with it, but the rest of the time, I'm wondering if I should bail now.
I don't know. Don't ask me for advice because I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think her hair and eyes are better than what you had last time. And I also liked how you improved the mouth.
You know, I love the kelp forest in the back and how faded out and patterny it is.
Thank you.
And I just wonder, should those rocks there where that beautiful red starfish is roosting, should they be more faded out too?
I was sort of playing around with that. The biggest problem I was having was when I was experimenting with lighter, colored lines, was suddenly realizing that the color I had for the lines were too dark for that they were lighter than the color I had the rocks on. I've been experimenting with doing a wash in the foreground that drowns a lot of it out. But yeah, I could probably I definitely would consider experimenting with a blur on it.
Because that way your adorable octopus with his teacups would punch a little bit more, I think.
Yeah,
like
if you had that
fish does and like she does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
I think you're doing pretty good on that one, Bill. Yep.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's really engaging. I want to know more about their story.
Yeah, it was sort of, I think the original image idea was sort of doing a visual version of the Beatles song, but
Oh, Octopus's Garden, right. Gosh, how could I forget that?
But as I said, I'm still working on it. I'm sort of trying to give myself a time limit for it, because while technically you can work on portfolio pieces as long as you want, at the same time, I see it as an exercise, and I believe that if I really want to be true to it, I need to be able to finish it as quickly as I do an assignment. So I'm trying not to spend too much time on it. So far I've only worked on it for about, I don't know, 8 hours.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the things you spend the least amount of time on are the best. Weirdly.
Yeah. I mean, the frustrating thing is, as I said, it was based on
the original watercolor didn't take you that long, did it?
No, I think it took me, it was one of the ones that was a little longer than it should have, but it was no more than an hour. And to a certain extent, that's one reason I'm sort of having a love-hate relationship with it, because sometimes when I do this sketch that absolutely rocks, suddenly it's frustrating that I'm not able to do a finished version of it that's better than it.
They had a big show at American Art downtown Tacoma, and it was all like still life stuff, but they did a pastel drawing and a photograph, and then they took those to their studio and did a large one. And sometimes the large one was an improvement, and sometimes it just lost the feeling, you know, but that was what they were challenging themselves with, not losing the feeling.
I know, I mean, the biggest thing I need to remember to work on is essentially know that most of these I have to do over completely, because it's very tempting to scan a piece and just ink it, but half the time that doesn't work because the composition, because you were cramming it into a sketch pad, the composition is, even though it works as a sketch, the poster, the composition's off.
Yeah, I hear you. I got those problems too. Oops. So gallery. I'm going to try and select and send these dumb things I'm working on, so you can either be amazed that I pulled it together or that I ruined it later. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So should I send the image format to my computer? That's what I'm on Zoom. Should I do it as a PDF, a JPEG, or a TIFF?
Well, if you're,
Procreate.
from Procreate, if you're trying to send it to yourself, I would suggest that you send it to yourself. What's the easiest one that you can open up on your computer?
I think any of them.
It depends on what you're planning to do with it. If it's just something you're sharing with people, JPEG's fine. I usually send it to myself as a Photoshop document so I can process it, so that I can work on it further in Studio Paint. I
send all of my files to myself as JPEGs, and usually that's a fairly low, about 800 pixels big, to put inside Instagram.
Okay. Okay, that's what I'll do then. AirDrop. Okay, somebody else should talk, because I, am fumbling with technology.
Oh, so. Okay. Ian, you've been awful quiet. Why don't you tell us what you've been drawing?
I am just working on this crowd of characters in my comic that, while you guys have been talking, I've just been looking for royalty-free images to reference. So making sure I'm, not accidentally taking a model photo or something like that, but just using these images that I'm getting off of unsplash.com, which is one of my free or one of my favorite reference sites. If I can find stuff on there, I'm usually pretty happy. But yeah, I've just been taking characters or taking image references from people and just trying to populate all these panels.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the punchline of the comic is like more and more people kind of show up. But obviously I won't spoil it, assuming it's funny. But I guess we'll find out. So, but yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Bill, which movie is it that I'm thinking of the Marx Brothers, where more people show up inside a stateroom until everyone just comes pouring out?
I think that's Night at an Opera. That's the one with, it's in the ship, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm sure it's Night in an Opera. I think it's the Night at the Opera.
Have you ever seen that movie, Ian?
It doesn't sound familiar, no.
Oh, so there's this hilarious scene.
It's a Marx Brothers film?
Marx Brothers. If you type in stateroom scene on YouTube or rooms or crowded room, what happens is the four brothers are assigned a tiny little room, and then they start ordering food, and then they start ordering other services, and then a plumber comes in to fix a pipe, and a gal comes in to do a manicure, and another was, there's more and more people keep crowding into this room, and they're all working at their own little tasks until finally one person opens up the door and they all just come spilling. It's one of the best skits that they've ever done. I particularly love the ordering of the eggs.
I found it. I'll have to check that out after the show.
I mean, for the most part, the only one that tops it is the mirror scene.
So Vicho wants to ask Ian, is that the same crowd you were drawing last week?
Yep, that's how stupid it's been with this client work. I mean, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, but it's tough to find time for my comic. One of the things that's really annoying me now is I found out about a new WordPress theme that's optimized for webcomics, and it's just so good that I'm like, yeah, I need to change the website so it's running.
Oh, is that the one that Brad Geiger was recommending? I'm blanking.
Yeah, it's Togetchi or something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of.
So once I found out about that, or Tucheki, once I found out about that, I was like, oh man, because my business advisor wants me to build a new website for my webcomics, or for not my webcomics, for my comic service, and I need to do that now that I have like these free comics that are about to go out, because they're going to have a URL reference, on the comic. So if people want to find out more about me, they need a good page to land on, and I don't want to use my current services page just because it's too general. I talk about illustration, graphic design, page layout, and stuff like that. Like if I'm really trying to push comics as a service for businesses, that's what the message has to be on that web page. So I actually have two web pages or websites to kind of do, and that's going to be tough. But I'm actually excited about Tucheki, because my current solution is kind of a mash of a plugin which I love using, and the old standby for webcomic artists, which is called Comic Easel, which isn't really supported anymore. And if you know WordPress, that's kind of a bad sign, especially for security. So yeah,
that's the problem I'm in. I was considering how big my archives were, I wouldn't be able to make use of the translated into web-ready images, considering how many strips I'd have to process.
Well, you can automate that with Photoshop.
Yeah, all you need to do, Bill, is create a folder, and then create an action sequence of what you want that. All your files are pretty much the same size, right?
Right.
So what you do in your action is you basically you tell it, okay, record this, open up this file, or rather take the file that's open, and when you hit this action button, or you can tell it, go to this folder, open up the files in this folder, convert them over to bit or JPEG or grayscale or whatever it is, change the file size from such and so to such and so, resave the file into this new location. then you hit stop, give that command, that action command, a name, put all your files from your archive in there, hit the button, walk away, and come back 20 minutes later, and it's all done.
Okay.
It'll resave the same files with the same names, but they'll be in a new folder and they'll all be resized.
Right.
Yeah, look up tutorials for actions on Photoshop. Remember when Geiger was saying that he loves actions?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love actions too. They save so much work. Can somebody type in the name of the plugin for Vicho? Because he's using Comic Press right now. And he
Oh, you mean the WordPress theme?
Yeah, the WordPress thing.
All right. And for anybody who's, I guess, watching this on YouTube after the fact and you don't have access to the chat, look up toochecky.com. It's T as in Tom, OOCHE, K as in kite, E.com. My understanding is Geiger actually helped develop this. So that's another kind of, reason to take it seriously. Like, I mean, he makes his living off of his webcomic. And so it's really a theme that is optimized for the business of webcomic. It has a Patreon plugin support, I think, and it's going to be an ongoing supported theme, which is, like I said, with Comic Press and Comic Easel, they're not really supported anymore, and that's kind of a dangerous thing with WordPress, especially because there's always some kind of security flaw or risk that is usually attached to your plugins not being updated. So to have something that's going to be continually updated and supported is really nice. And there is a premium version of Tucheki, which I will probably get just because I do want to make this my business. But check out the website if you're interested.
That's good. It's good to know because it's sort of like one thing as far as my model. I mean, the Patreon's been working nicely for me so far, but it's sort of throwing up my model completely, considering it's sort of, I've been wanting to do more blogging for the world building of the strip, and part of me's going, okay, much as I want to have more text on the web page, at the same time, it's more appreciated on Patreon, and so therefore, how much blogging should I be doing on the original strip if I'm not doing the have everything on the strip page the week after? And I'm sorry, that sounded a bit like gibberish, didn't it?
Well, I mean, you're just saying you're trying to manage your time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I have. I was just looking at this last week after a phone call with kind of a business mentor. I have a YouTube channel, Unfed Artist, and I started doing it when I created my business, thinking that everybody needs to be on YouTube, and it's all about good exposure. But at the end of the day, I was like, well, I'm trying to make comics a business, and YouTube isn't really conducive to that. So I realized I'm basically just having a vlog, and not really, a business mindset behind why I'm doing that. So I was like, I'm just going to stop doing it until I could kind of figure out why I want to spend the time on YouTube. Because if you actually, take the time to, to shoot multiple takes, to, edit the video and all that stuff, I mean, that could be pretty time intensive. And that's all time I could have spent, making comics and doing other stuff, which, is actually what I want to do. So yeah, when it comes to like all this kind of tertiary stuff, and you think it's nice. I think it's always a good idea to kind of look at the business rationale behind it and say, you know, is this a good value for what I'm trying to get out of the time I'm going to invest in it? And were I to do this in a different, or if I were to spend my time somewhere else, you know, would I be better or happier or whatever for that? I mean, Bill, from what I know, you're already pretty, you know, productive when it comes to your comic, and you have like a good kind of buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that you have to, you know, worry about not producing comics regularly, but I know you take on a lot of projects, right? Like you have your space opera and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, at the moment, the space opera is mostly concept art that I'm focusing on the writing more. So I'm planning on putting a lot of that concept art onto the Patreon account. But as far as actual product, I don't expect there to be anything resembling the online graphic novel until sometime next year. And then my superhero idea, that one I have a fairly solid script for, at least for the first couple of months. And so that I can probably create a lot more, start creating sooner. And I was, obviously I still need to look into Tucheki more, but I'd been planning on giving Tucheki a test run with that.
yeah, so I mean, already you kind of went through a few things that, you know, if you had more time to spend on them, you could get further along faster and sooner. And you know, when it comes to like something like Patreon, where you're actually deriving income from it, you know, what kind of value can you get from putting like actual content on Patreon as opposed to just like, you know, text updates? You know, like where's the biggest juice going to come from, and what's going to drive more supporters your way?
Yeah, exactly. For example, as you prop guys know, I've been starting to be fairly active with my YouTube channel. I've been teaching myself by doing these time-lapse illustrations on them. And that's a pretty cool thing, though it's not as many eyeballs as I'd like, but at the moment. And so I've been planning on what else I can do on YouTube, and I've been thinking of animatics or more in-depth introductions to the comic strip, for example, as a way of doing the readers' questions and just background material. But again, why would I put it on YouTube for free if I can put it on Patreon?
Yeah. So I think as long as you're thinking along those lines, you know, I wouldn't get too worried about you know what you're working on, just as long as you're always kind of framing it against, you know, what the purpose is, the bigger picture.
Exactly. I mean, Geiger one of the first things Geiger said in his webinar was don't make extra work for yourself if it's not going to pay off.
Yeah, that's a much faster way of saying what I just spent all that time saying. So.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah. So I'm trying to stick to that for the most part. And so for example, all of the extra tier stuff that I'm posting, I'm trying to have it be relevant to the main project. And also, I mean, most of the stuff that most of the Patreon only stuff I'm doing at the moment is archive material, but sooner or later I'm very tempted on doing new stuff. But at the same time, what am I going to do with that new stuff besides show it to people who are paying for the privilege on Patreon?
Bill, Vicho posted in the chat room that he suggests that you check out the file menu scripts image processor, and there you can do images in batches from one folder to another.
Okay.
Photoshop. Okay.
Yeah, I've done that quite a bit. It's so much fun.
Well, I only have about a minute left to hang out with you guys, so I will.
Oh, has it been an hour already? It has. So let's see. Oh, I'll keep my orphans coming along pretty well. I've gotten all the background effects done just right. I'm now coloring in the color on the foreground figure. It'll be nice and simple.
Are you sharing?
Oh, would you like to see it at its current stage? It's really dark. You may not like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's not that dark. It's good to see.
No, I mean it's dark humor-wise because the prompt word is orphan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, how can you make a happy orphan?
Oh, my orphan one was optimistic. It's
Yeah, I mean, you had a nice baby in a basket.
Mhm.
Did
Well-
I put up a graphic?
Yes,
Yes, you did.
Okay, that's gonna be Siren Song, but I don't know where to put my opera singer guy. Like, I think they need more space apart.
Maybe if you shrink it a little bit and have it distinctly in the background.
Oh, I don't know. I think if you put the sea lion over where the oar is, and that way you can have.
Instead
Okay,
of a lion, it looked more like a gray seal.
okay. So if you
Okay.
if you
Okay,
take
so
the foreground alien, the sailor girl, if you had her.
girl,
Yeah, if you had her foot resting on the rock right about where the bottom of the seal is right now, and then got rid of the oar on the boat altogether, or have it inside the boat later on, or just get rid of the oar altogether. I think you should do the same thing like I do with hands and not show things.
yeah.
And then have the seal up behind her, or right on the edge, where the seal's not sticking out beyond the right-hand side of the boat, but just right behind the boat.
That's an excellent idea. So all the girls that love the opera merman can be adoring him.
Right up and close, so that they're both about the same size.
Okay. I like that. I'm going
This
to
is-
work on that.
Okay. I
Yeah.
want to thank everybody for joining us for yet another episode of Epic Sketch Time. I'll see what I can do about posting this video up nice and soon on Epic Sketch Time on Facebook. And I look forward to seeing you guys either tomorrow night at the It's an Epic Dramic drawing session with the Claw at 7:30, at Freelance Fandango next Monday at from 11 to 2, or again here at Epic Sketch Time at 4:30. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.